Hello everyone, and welcome to this video news and Q&A for October 4th, 2015. For today's video, I thought I'd do a little air-to-air action in the L-39. During the course of the video, I'll take the Albatros against several different aircraft, and I'll be in both the front seat and the back seat. Now the video takes place in the NTTR map in the EC South part of the range on the west side. This is also the part of the range where the constant peg exercises took place. Now the L-39C does not have a cannon, but it does have two ATOL air-to-air missiles. It's pretty simple to use these. You just flick a couple switches down on the weapon control panel and place the target in the reticle and wait for the tone. So while my BFM hops are running, let's go ahead and talk about the news for DCS World. Now the biggest news, of course, is the open beta release of DCS World 1.5. This has been in the work for quite a long time, with the primary feature being the brand new graphics engine. There's also a very long list of other changes in 1.5, and I'll include a link to those in the video notes. By and large, we're very happy with the release, and we're also very thankful for all the kind words you guys have had to say on the various forums. However, being an open beta, there's still a lot of work to do with a lot of bugs still to squash. For those that like to take part in the squashing, I've included a link to the FAQ on how to report a bug. If you think you found a valid bug, I've also included a link to where you can report those. As to how long the beta process will last, well, that all depends on how fast we can find the bugs and kill them. Our first priority will be on bugs that everybody's experienced that also have a high gameplay impact or are very visual. Now, during the course of the open beta, we'll regularly be releasing updates as we fix various problems. Now the other big news, of course, was the open beta release of DCS L39 Albatros. Now like DCS 1.5, the Albatros is also an open beta, and we definitely welcome your feedback on any problems you may encounter. During the open beta process, we'll also be introducing additional content, such as training in the ZA version. We think you guys are going to have a really fun time with this, particularly multiplayer, or even already you can have cooperative multiplayer with one guy in the front and one in the back. So, although we only have two news items today, obviously they're very big ones, particularly the release of DCS World 1.5. Let's go ahead now and do some Q&A regarding the Nevada map. We have a lot of questions on the subject matter, so I'm actually going to answer 30 questions today. The first question is, do you have any idea yet when you could implement Tonopah Air Force Base in the map? Our first priority right now is just finishing the map with the current content. Now once it's all done and we clean up the bugs in the map, we can certainly look at doing additional content like Tonopah. But again, right now that's a question mark, but something we certainly hope to do someday. The next question, do you maintain the Hope 2 plans to improve NTTR, add Fort Irwin NTC, China Lake, ranges, expand them to future to add other military bases? The question is similar with Hopes to civil airports. So just like the Tonopah question, it really comes down to the resources that we'll have available after the NTTR map is done with the current plan. Now, it's my hope that later we can do detailed versions of the NTC, which I think has great possibilities for combined arms. But, again, that's still up in the air, and we'll have to see what happens. As for other civil airports, actually right now we do have a semi-functional civil airport at Mesquite. And again, possibly in the future, we may add some additional civil airports, but time will tell on that. The next question is, will NTTR map come with training and or free flight missions for all released aircraft? Well, we certainly don't plan to release such missions with the map itself, but hopefully us and third parties and users will actually release missions for aircraft that will work within DTR. So we think it's actually easier to flip it around the other way. The next question is there any chance the map will be expanded in the future to include the Grand Canyon? Well, actually the Grand Canyon is included in the map right now, but it's at a very, very low level detail. And actually, if I had to guess the lowest level detail in the entire map, it probably is the Grand Canyon right now. So again, it is included, but don't expect to be blown away by the level detail for it. As mentioned in earlier notes though, the outside of the map is the lowest detail, and it's more there to hide the edge of the world and to be seen at a distance rather than actually being overflown. The next question is, did ED team members get to travel to Las Vegas and the surrounding areas to see it in person as part of the research for building the NTTR? Any fun stories? Unfortunately not, except for myself. In a previous life, I actually had quite a few journeys to Las Vegas to spend some time up at Nellis Air Force Base and got pretty familiar with the area then. But in addition to my own experiences, we have several subject matter experts that have spent quite a lot of time flying over the NTTR. So that's kind of our basis of first-person observations of the territory. The next question is, will you offer any option to red flag training missions, like in real life, and not only combat missions, where you get shot down by enemy missiles? Not so realistic. So for the foreseeable future, right now, it is only essentially live weapons. We looked at doing an ACMI type of operation, but all the complications that actually result from that, from the AI in particular, would be just a nightmare, and in the end, really not worth a huge amount of resources that would have to go into it. So the next question is, will we get special ground objects / units for the NTTR in the future? For example, targeting use on the ranges. So right now, all the objects that are available in DCS World are also available in the NTTR. As for building unique objects, it may be a possibility down the road after the NTTR is done and debugged. But right now, the targeting will be a combination of what's essentially painted in the textures, as well as the current objects that are available in DCS World. The next question is, will we be able to place ships on Lake Mead to run carrier ops? So for a ship to be placed in the world, it has to be placed on essentially what's called an ocean surface, and the lakes, in particular Lake Mead, do not count as ocean surfaces. So the next question is, will there be specific non-combat vehicles, American cars, trucks, civil aircraft, and trains in the Nevada map, or will the ambience units of the Black Sea map still be used for civilian traffic? So for the NTTR map, we actually do have unique American type cars and trucks and trains and so on. So number 10, given the detailed locations included in the NTTR, will there be any concept of restricted airspace being enforced? Well, that's really all up to the mission designer. There's different ways you could do it. You could have a Patriot sand battery that if you violate the space, it opens up on you, or you could have a fighter scramble to shoot you down if you violate the space, or even have radio messages triggered or end the mission. So it's really up to the mission designer of how they want to enforce that. The next one is, once released, is the idea to have the NTTR being the default locations for training of future aircraft? That's actually a pretty interesting question. The problem with that is if we were to do that, it would then require the purchaser of the aircraft module to then purchase the NTTR. So it really hasn't been decided. We could do that, or we could have all the training in the Black Sea, or we could, sell the aircraft module with the NTTR map at a slightly higher cost. But again, we really haven't decided exactly how that will be accomplished yet. The next question is, what is NTR's potential to be a red versus blue multiplayer map? I think there's massive potential, particularly given that this is the home of Red Flag, which is the biggest red versus blue exercise in the United States. In addition to that, of course, there's all sorts of fictitious types of exercises that you could put together as well. So yeah, I think there's all sorts of possibilities for the multiplayer in this map. So the next question is, do McCarran International have AI approach and ground routes assigned, or is it an eye candy non-functional airport? So McCarran is a fully functional airport in the Nevada map, so you can do ramp starts, takeoff, landings, taxiway lights, runway lights, approach lights, and everything else. So it's just as functional as, say, Nellis. The next question is, the mentioned airbase animations, could you expand on this? Are we talking strobe lights, etc.? Actually, specifically what I'm talking about are runway rabbit lights. So number 15, will there be open hangars and ground crews? At this point, there will not be ground crew, but there will be different hangars and shelters that you could drive your aircraft into and out of. The next question is, will we be able to land on roads and highways on the NTTR map? Indeed you will. Now, granted, I haven't tested every aircraft, but I just took a A-10 out and was able to land on a nice straight highway north of Las Vegas. The next question is, are there any plans for the manufacture of hard copy tactical maps for NTTR in the same way as a tactical map that was produced for Flaming Cliffs 2? Unfortunately not. The days of the hard copy manuals and the maps, unfortunately, are going to be a thing of the past. Next we have, are any areas of the map designed with combined arms gameplay in mind? I'm wondering where the best visuals will be for driving ground vehicles. Not really. The NTTR is really just focused on red flag and air operations. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's possible that down the road after NTTR is wrapped up, we may try to flesh out the NTC, but that's still very much up in the air. And right now, the NTTR is pretty much just focused on aircraft right now. The next question is, will trains be scriptable as vehicles? Can we assign them as targets? So trains operate just the same as they do in the Black Sea map, in that they are automatic and they run per schedule. Question number 20, will NAS Fallon be modeled in the new map? So in fact, Fallon lies in the very, very top northwest corner of the map. But as it's on the very edge of it, it's a very, very low resolution texture and low resolution mesh, and it's really not included as a modeled airfield. And for us to really include Fallon, it would require essentially building a whole new map area to support that, and we really don't have any current plans to do that right now. The next question is, will DCS 2.0 support Oculus Rift? It certainly will, and by the time we release 2.0 and the Nevada map, all the current issues that we're debugging with 1.5 should be cleared up by then. The next question is, what kind of documentation is planned for the release of the NTTR module in PDF format? Well, we really don't have any planned documentation for the NTTR. Most of the documentation will be more in the form of the campaigns released to take part in the NTTR map. The next question is, does the Hoover Dam have a damage state so that it may be used as a target during missions? So really large objects like the Hoover Dam really don't have a damage model per se, but they can be hit with weapons and have smoke and fire from those locational points. But certainly you will not be able to destroy a Hoover Dam and flood Las Vegas and burn out everybody's CPUs trying to model that. So number 25, will there be a simulated carrier deck landing area with the arresting wires and IF, LO, LS, etc.? I don't believe there's any such facility in that area. I'm pretty sure the only facility, at least in the US, is out in New Jersey. And unfortunately, our map doesn't quite extend that far. The next question is, will there be different seasons for the NTTR, like snow covering the cities and desert? So right now we plan on just a single texture for all 4 seasons, mainly because of the NTTR using satellite textures rather than art textures for the most part. And for us to do seasonal textures for all 4 seasons would unfortunately just be way too far out of scope. So the next question is, we've heard that purchasers of the A10C, when it was in beta, will get the NTTR map for free. Will this include both campaigns, or will they be available separately for us? So in this case, you'll have to purchase the campaign separately, because those campaigns will never part of the original A10C beta program. So next, will be anyone for the Russian type aircraft to navigate on NTTR, since RSBN and ARC, to my knowledge, will not be present. So all navigation in NTTR will be either VORTAC or TACAN. Next, will VFR navigation be a possibility in the NTTR? Is there enough stuff modeled for us to fly a mission using VFR? I'm not talking a high level detail, say just enough to use a 1 to 250,000 scale map. Well, particularly around the high to medium area detail, which is the center of the map, I think absolutely. You know, most of the roads, the rail lines, the cities, the towns, the power lines, and so on are all pretty faithfully modeled. So I don't think VFR should be a problem in the high, medium detail areas. Outside in the lower detail areas, then you may have more of an issue. Next, will civilian traffic have the same level of control in NTTR as is currently available within DCS World 1.2 caucuses? Yep, it should be just the same with off, low, medium, and high. And finally, number 30, does a server host have to pay for the map just for hosting it? Yeah, most certainly. Unless you took part in the A10C beta program, to use the map, you'll have to purchase it. And that, everyone, wraps up this news and Q&A for October 4th, 2015. For the next one, we're actually going to do something a little bit different, and we'll do a Q&A for one of our third-party programs, namely the M2000C by Razvan. And I will talk to you next time.